Hi everyone! Today's video is going to be on discontinued makeup items that I still love immensely. Now, every product that I'm going to talk about in this video was part of some brand's permanent range of products, and then they discontinued them. And I mean, obviously I still love them, so I don't really understand why they were discontinued, but they obviously must not have been good sellers for the brand. But I still find it shocking because so many of these are so good, and they're ones that I go back to constantly. I'm gonna kick this off with the item that has just been the most recently discontinued, and it breaks my absolute heart. That is the Boots No7 Instant Radiance Foundation. If I had to say I had a perfect foundation match in terms of not only color, but also consistency, it would be the Instant Radiance Foundation. This goes on my skin as if it were naturally supposed to be there. It's a sheer coverage, but it gives me just a little bit to even out my skin tone. It still lets my freckles shine through, and it has this glorious radiance to it that I don't see in a lot of foundations now. And you could only buy this overseas in the UK and in Ireland in a Boots store. But when I was there in May for vacation, the helpful sales clerk at Boots told me that they had just discontinued this a few months before I got there. And honestly, I was heartbroken. I bought 6 bottles, maybe 8 bottles, of whatever stock they had left in the back room in one Boots, and then I spent the rest of the vacation hunting through different Boots stores asking for them to go check in the back room to see if they still had stock they hadn't shipped back to the brand. And alas, no one else had any. And funnily enough, one of the sales clerks was pointing at one of their new foundations in the Boots range, and she's like, oh, they replaced Instant Radiance with this new one. Do you want to give that one a shot? And I was like, no, not really, I don't care. I want my foundation. And once I'd said that, she's like, you know, I never really understood why they discontinued this one, because apparently it was one of their better sellers. So I don't know if they just decided to change the ingredients around and rebrand it and make it whatever that new branding is, or that new sub range for them, but I was not willing to try it. So I'm heartbroken about this one because I started buying this, I think I picked it up in Ireland, probably 6-7 years ago, something like that. And it was just perfect. It's just perfect. And now it's gone off the market. I'm so heartbroken. I've tried a lot of foundation, it feels like, through blogging. I've bought stuff, but I've also been given a ton by PR, and nothing has ever come close to this. I just feel like most foundations on the market now are pretty full coverage and quite matte. And the ones that I have tried that are more dewy in tone tend to just turn me into an oil slick, and these don't do that. So yeah, I'm at a loss. I mean, it's gonna take me a few years to go through these bottles because I've got quite a few and I don't wear foundation necessarily every day, but yeah, it's the end of an era. In sticking with some UK-based products, these sleek palettes are no longer being produced, and I'm in total shock because I thought they were excellent. So I've got 2 palettes here. They're part of their I Divine series. I've labeled them with nail polish. One is the Matte Darks palette and one is Matte Brights. Wait, that is not the actual name of them, I just call them that. It's the Ultra Mattes Volume 1 and the Ultra Mattes Volume 2. And what I liked so much about these palettes is that they're all matte shadows, and this one is really bright, which was fun to use several years ago when I first picked it up. And then this one is all mattes and they're all dark tones. But these worked so well, not only together, but like with other palettes to emphasize and enhance them. The darks one I actually think is the one that I use the most, because often when I'm creating an eye look, I want a colorful eye look, but I want to be able to deepen the outer corner of my eye with a matte color that's a deeper tone than what I'm using on my lid. So if I'm doing a green eye, I want to use a dark green outer corner color. Or if I'm doing a pink eye, I want a dark magenta or kind of a rusty pink color for the outer corner. And not a lot of palettes provide matte, colorful shadows that are not black, navy, or brown. And this palette, while it does have those colors in it, also has like a dark teal color. It's got a dark green. It has two different types of dark purples. And then this one down here, which honestly doesn't look like much, is actually quite a deep smoky, not amethyst, but like a burnt purple. We'll go with that. There's like a kind of a more maroon shade over there, and it's lovely. I have reached for this palette so many times over the years because it had so many colors just of a deeper nature, and they're matte. So I love this thing to pieces, but they're no longer selling it. And I'm honestly surprised because some of the colors that they are still selling, like some of the palettes they're still selling, are weird color combinations. There's a lot of neutral, fine, I get it, most people are going for neutrals, but it's weird not to have the color variety that's available in that palette. And then also, they really don't make any bright palettes anymore, as far as I've noticed. Sleek kind of got famous for that acid palette years ago. They're not making that one anymore, but I don't necessarily reach for that one as much as I do the matte dark one and then the matte bright one. So the matte bright one was a lot of fun, not only to use on the lid because they pack really well and the color is really strong, but I also used quite a few of these shades as transition colors, and they're quite strong in the pan, but if you use a fluffy brush, you can usually get it a little bit more blown out. And I just really enjoyed these, and I just think it's so bizarre that Sleek basically has no color variety anymore. They're all like, I think there's a garden palette which is like greens, and that's fine, but aside from that, they don't have anything vibrant or deep colorful shadows anymore, and I just find that really sad. And those were permanent for a very long time. I like at least 7 years, maybe 8 years, and then just one day I was going to link them in the YouTube description box for a video because I'd used them in my eyeshadow look. Side note about that, if you are ever curious about anything that I am wearing on my face or on my nails or my shirt even, everything is always in the description box, so check there if you're curious. But I was trying to link one of these palettes in the description box and I couldn't find it. Like, it's gone. It was just gone from their website, and I was like, well, that's disappointing. Sticking with palettes, I've mentioned this one quite a few times in the past, but I don't remember doing it recently, so I gotta bring it up because I love it so much. The Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar Palette. Of all the chocolate bar, I was gonna say, is this my favorite? Because the chocolate gold is definitely a very good palette, because it's exciting, the colors are fun in there, but I haven't used it as much as this one, so I'll say that this one is my favorite chocolate bar palette. So the semi-sweet one was a follow-up to their original chocolate bar palette, which I liked, but the colors weren't exactly me, and I didn't really know why at the time because that was a very long time ago and I didn't know as much about makeup as I do now. But when this one came out, I was really enticed by it, and I can explain why now. It's because there's so many more warmer tones in this, and they sort of really fit into like the caramel and peanut butter shades that I really enjoy in neutral colors. So peanut butter is that shade that became infamous for Too Faced, and they ended up making the peanut butter and jelly palette, which is another discontinued product. Ugh. So good, I love that palette. So peanut butter is excellent. Caramel and bonbon are that kind of like gold caramel type colors that are so much fun to wear on the lid. I love butter pecan over here. And even this weird pink sugar color, which most people hated because it's a weird consistency. It's kind of, I mean, it's basically a glitter. It's a very finely milled glitter, but you can get hard pans so quickly on that shadow that it basically starts to look really disgusting over time. So I end up scraping off the layer usually when I want to use it, but that is such a fun color to use on the inner corner of your eye and just sort of like cause a little bit of a spark and interest in that area. So this, oh, just smelling it too. Everything about this palette just made me so happy. And then I think it was the first chocolate bar palette that they discontinued. They've now gone on to discontinue the bonbons one as well. So I think really they're only left with the original chocolate bar and then the chocolate gold palette, which are good, but this one's my favorite. I've gone back to this one so many times, and I just love the eyeshadow looks that come out of it. And yes, there are neutral palettes that I love, and this is definitely one of them. By the way, I have occasionally seen this at Winners or Marshalls in their discounted makeup section. Not as much recently, but several months ago I did see them, so you might still be able to find this at a much cheaper price tag. My next two sets of products are blushes that have been discontinued by two different brands, and I don't get them because they're so good. The first one is by Laura Geller, and they are the Baked Gelato Vivid Swirl Blush. I have the shade Guava here, and then the other one is Plum Berry. Now these are really fun because they've got that little embossed swirl print that, you know, we like our embossed products, but the colors were beautiful too. And these, I think I got them in kind of combo packs. I feel like they came with a face primer, a lip gloss, and then one of the blushes. I am pretty sure that they sold these individually, but for whatever reason, I ended up getting both of these in a trio pack at Ulta. And these were available permanently, but for a very limited amount of time. I know that they've popped up occasionally on like QVC or maybe the shopping network, and I feel like they're no longer being produced, but old stock is being sold, which is strange because I felt like people really liked these. They were always well reviewed as far as I was aware on YouTube and in blogs, but they disappeared so quickly from their range, and I do not think that they were limited edition. I'm pretty sure they were part of their permanent range because they had a whole bunch of colors. I think there was one called Papaya as well. They go on the skin relatively pigmented, so you do have to be pretty gentle with your application, but they blend it out so nicely. The colors are beautiful. I go back to these all the time. This one is more of a summer color for me, and then Plum Berry is more of a fall into winter color. But this Plum Berry shade is very unique. I've not found a blush that's quite like this in another brand, so I just keep going back to this one when I'm wearing more of like a mauve colored eyeshadow look or a bit more of a cranberry tone. These are beautiful, but I don't know why they got rid of them. And it's weird too because they still have the highlighters that are in this kind of format with this kind of embossing on it. I don't know. I don't know why they're gone. And the other blush range that's been discontinued is by Essence, and they're their Silky Touch blushes. I have two shades here. This one is Autumn Peach, which is an absolute favorite. From the first time I used this, even up until this past week where I've used it consistently, I have just loved this color so much. It's so easy to wear. It blends out so nicely. It's truly one of those perfect blush shades. And then the other one I have here, I haven't used it as much, but I still enjoy it, is Life's a Cherry. So the Silky Touch blushes, as far as I'm aware, have been completely discontinued, although they are still showing on the Essence European website. However, to my knowledge, they've been replaced with the Satin Touch blushes, which I do not like. I find those ones so stiff, so difficult to apply. They don't blend out nicely, and the color range is just not as good in my opinion. I was so disappointed when I found out that this range had been discontinued because they're just seamless to apply. This color in particular is absolute perfection, but the formula consistency is even across the board, and they're just pigmented but easy to blend. You never really overdo it with this one. You can with this one, but I mean, in terms of blending them out, they're both beautiful. So I don't know why Essence discontinued these, other than the fact that, I mean, at some point brands have to discontinue products in order to sell new products. You know what I mean? Like, they have to get you interested in the next new exciting launch, so they just get rid of an old range and force you into the new one. And it's irritating that brands do that, but hey, they have to keep people buying their products. But this was one of the best things from Essence, and I'm just so annoyed that they got rid of it. I love these so much. So there you have a whole bunch of discontinued products that were permanent at one point that are no longer available on the market. We've all got those products by a brand that they discontinue that then breaks our hearts. So maybe let me know about something that you really enjoyed but is no longer available on the market. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye.